Hey everyone, welcome to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And we got a lot to discuss today. And I'm joined here by my cousin, Chris, better known as Gotian from Gotian's Games. Say hello to him, everybody.
What's up, everybody? Thank you very much, Ronnie, for having me on your channel today.
It's my pleasure, cousin.
All right, so what are we talking about, Ronnie?
All right, we're gonna cover a lot of things, but
Well,
let's talk about like the most recent releases. Let's hit on the Defenders.
all right.
Um, and I don't mean hit on them, like actually hit on them, but whatever. I think the Defenders overall was a great show. So if anybody's been watching my videos on my channel, I gave it a review, and I think I gave it an overall rating of an A minus, if I'm not mistaken. So what did
Um,
you think overall of the show, Chris?
I actually really liked the Defenders. I thought it was very well done. They actually covered a lot of their tracks. Um, they built it up very well in Daredevil season 2, as well as Iron Fist. Because when you watch Iron Fist by itself, I mean, I know how you feel. I know how I feel about the Iron Fist show. It didn't leave the best taste in your mouth, you know?
Exactly. It just felt incomplete, and from everything from choreography to acting, maybe acting at its best, and to like, stories that could have been left out.
Yeah, and so like personally, I feel like the Defenders did a very good job of continuing on the story of Danny Rand, and I thought it was like I was hoping they would do that. I was hoping that the Defenders would kind of feel like Iron Fist season 1.5, which that's what it did feel like.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually, and I think, and I do believe that the general consensus that people would actually think that this is like would be um, an aftermath of Iron Fist. Like it is like feels like a 1.5, even though it does focus on the other main characters. But we get a lot of questions answered from like Iron Fist season 1.
Yeah, and like something that people need to understand when you're coming into the Defenders, because I mean I know that they tried to make it so that way you don't have to watch the other shows if you didn't want to. Um, but if you needed, if you were gonna watch any of the other shows, it needed to be Daredevil and Iron Fist, because Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, as cool as their characters are, they had very little backstory going into Defenders compared to Daredevil and Iron Fist.
Right, because like the whole focus was on the hand, and that was really Daredevil and Iron Fist related.
Right, and that's why I said like Daredevil season 2 did a very good job setting up the Defenders as far as the Hand being the villain, and Iron Fist. Like now that we have the Defenders, if you go back and watch Iron Fist, it actually makes Iron Fist a little bit better.
Right, but that should never ever be the case. But it does make it better. But typically, we would want the show like we would want these heroes to carry on their own show in the first place, not having to rely on the aftermath and then having to look back. I was like, oh, it's much better than what it is. But like, yeah, it does make Iron Fist a little bit better.
Right, and something that like, because when you look at the character of Danny Rand, okay, you look at Danny Rand compared to Daredevil, because they did this on purpose, and you can kind of see it, like you can see it a little bit in Iron Fist, but you see it now that you have both characters on the screen together. You see Danny Rand's inexperience compared to Matt Murdock and Daredevil, his Daredevil character. Um, it has a lot to do with the way that his character is, and it makes us understand his character more than we did in the Iron Fist show so far.
Yeah, exactly. And a good point to that. And for people who haven't seen the Defenders now, there will be spoilers in this talk, so you can leave if you like, or you can skip it since this will be posted. Um, People have had arguments online, and they were arguing about the fact that Iron Fist got his ass handed to him by Daredevil, and I think that's easy to say that well, Daredevil won because of experience.
Right, and I mean, Danny Rand, even though he says he's the immortal Iron Fist, us as comic book readers and comic book fans, we know for a fact that he's not the full Iron Fist yet. He can
Exactly, he
he
still
can
has got
only
more to go.
right he can only power up one of his fists. He's inexperienced. Yes, he can fight, but like he doesn't have the full on training. He even left his training early.
Yeah, he
So
finished it. He didn't finish his training exactly.
so there's still a lot left for him to learn. And like Luke Cage, I mean, their first interaction when Danny Rand and Luke Cage met was like Luke Cage was like, "Hey, dude, we don't punch first and ask questions later. You know, this is not how you do things here."
Exactly. Danny Rand had a different upbringing, and for most viewers out there, they had. I think a lot of people, I can say that they had an expectations already like set for Iron Fist. They were expecting this guy to kick all sorts of ass all over the place. When in fact, when a person that struggles and has his own conflicts, it tends to actually be more of a compelling character. Characters that and just deal with problems and overall and just dilemmas. It makes for more of an interesting character rather than the character that has everything. So I think that's why we have Danny Rand the way he is now.
Right. I mean, think of it. You got to think about it this way. Like, we have Matt Murdock. Okay. Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Even though season 1 he wasn't full on Daredevil until the very end, he was still well trained to be able to fight the way that he did. You know,
Exactly.
That's why when it came down to it, if Daredevil was gonna fight Iron Fist, currently in the current state that it is, Daredevil is definitely going to one up Iron Fist because he has the full on training. He's seen more combat. He's been through a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. And that was without his armor that Daredevil had. He just did it with a cheap black shirt and a hood over his face and everything.
Right. So like, I know that I was really harsh when I watched Iron Fist. I mean, I was not happy with it. But now that you go back and you've seen the interactions with everybody, you get a better understanding. And I know that you said that it's not supposed to work out that way, but I kind of feel like they did it on purpose.
Exactly, and it just goes back to the point I was trying to make, where like people did have expectations of Iron Fist. Like people were expecting this kung fu martial artist master and to kick all sorts of ass, but those expectations weren't met, sadly, and for that reason, people were just got incredibly upset at the fact that the show wasn't as good as they expected.
Right. So like, okay, so now that we got like kind of that out of the way, like let's break down like the characters, like how they're gonna go from here on. Like how are we gonna see the characters in their own shows from now on? I'm kind of curious. I mean, like I said, this is more in your field of expertise. I mean, I'm limited to what I know, but you definitely know more than I do. So
Well, so far what we know is that every character, including Daredevil, has been confirmed for another season. Even Iron Fist has been confirmed for season 2. Jessica Jones, of course, they're already filming Jessica Jones season 2, and apparently that's gonna feature the return of David Tennant's character, Kilgrave, or better known as the Purple Man. As far as how they're gonna work that character in remains to be seen, but I think that she's gonna be, having hallucinations and haunting flashbacks and whatnot. But I don't know. There is a possibility for resurrection, since that's no stranger to like the Defenders, since characters have been brought back to life. And for Iron Fist, I think he's going to continue defending the city or trying to work with Luke Cage to form a new Heroes for Hire, because they had those moments and they teased those moments in the Defender series. And as for Luke Cage, he will be teaming up with the detective who lost her arm in the Defenders, and she's going to get her bionic arm. That's actually been revealed today.
oh, so that was officially revealed. Okay, because I know that in the comics she gets a bionic arm from Stark Technology.
Stark International.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, courtesy of Tony Stark. But I think since Netflix and Marvel Studios are not able to like settle some sort of agreement where they can share the characters like that, even though it takes place in the same universe, I think they're going to work that in where Danny Rand pays for all the hospital bills, including the tech, to give her a bionic arm. Danny Rand's going to do the funding.
Well, yeah, I mean they already said that he was going to take care of that, because he mentioned that he owns the hospital.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
But like, like I could see them doing it that way. They're still, they still would include the Stark technology. Um, I could see them definitely keeping that in there, because just because the character won't be in there, Iron Man won't be in the Netflix universe, but they could still use the name. That doesn't prohibit them of using it.
Exactly.
And so okay, so here's my questions. Like, how did you feel about like how the fingers of the hand were portrayed?
I was expecting something entirely different. Um, believe it or not, Bakuto's like my least favorite character. I'm like, I can't believe we're doing this guy again. I'm like, why is he back? Because he was a little annoying on Iron Fist, honestly. I was happy to see that Madame Gao was like one of the fingers of the Iron Fist, of the, I'm sorry, of the hand, and she exceeded my expectations because like she's really powerful. I would have loved to know more about the story, about why they're ancient and why they are the way they are. I mean, I think the whole idea of trying to like obtain the substance wasn't really enough for me. I would have loved to explore that more. Wanted more of that story.
Yeah, I mean they just basically just mentioned it, that the substance that they get is from the dragon bones from the elder dragons, and that's what keeps them living. And then they give that to their disciples, so that way their disciples can continue on living for long periods of time. Um, I mean, for me, what felt kind of weak was just like the whole reasoning behind it. They just wanted to go home, which was like,
Right. I mean, I thought there would be more of a more of an idea, like why is it that they're doing the way of what they're doing, and yeah, the whole reasoning behind it was a tad weak. I was going for something more epic in destruction or something more in